going on, everybody? It's your boy Adam back at you yet again for hashtag rebound series, and it is also day 120. I said I would do a video whenever I have time to myself here in the house, and I'm taking a break, and I got some time to myself, and I've definitely got a few things going on today. Probably the topic that I'm thinking of right now as I say this will be in a subsequent video, possibly later on today or tomorrow. But it has to do with searching for a job. And here we go. I'm getting a phone call right in front of my face as I'm trying to record this video. And I think it's a shady recruiter. And so I guess I'll just wing it and just talk about this. So, like I was saying, these recruiters from India are extremely unethical, and to be honest, I think most of them are a bunch of scam artists. And so I received an email from one of them today, but he had a phone number. And I have a copy and paste response for these people, so it literally takes me 5 to 10 seconds to respond if I get an email. And the only reason I responded was it was a job lead for a company here in Houston to work on site. And so I figure it improves my chances of being considered for a job if it's local to me and I'm willing to come in to the office and work, than a remote job based in Houston or based anywhere where they're getting, 20,000 resumes from people all over the world and all over America. It's the only reason I responded. And I called the guy because if I get a phone number, I will call. I talked to the guy for a few minutes. He said he was going to email me back some forms to fill out and some like a right to represent form and some other stuff. He wanted to ask me a few questions. Well, 2 hours goes by and I didn't hear back from him, and I figured, all right, fine. And all of a sudden, I get an email back from him, and now I'm being bombarded with phone calls. He's called me like 8 times in the last 10, 15 minutes. But he's asking me to send him a copy of my driver's license, and he's asking for other personal information that I'm not going to give him. I'm not just going to send you a copy of my driver's license. After I get the job and I fill out, if I have to fill out an I-9 documentation and things like that, fine. But I'm not going to just send some random guy from India my fucking driver's license. You get the fuck out of here. So I'm looking at this a little bit closer, and a lot of times these recruiters will tell you the company that they're sending you to. And the company that the guy said that the job was through was another staffing agency, a nationally known staffing company. And so this guy's a total fucking scam artist. And that's why he's bombarding me with phone calls every 5 minutes now, because he's just trying to get my personal information. He's trying to get me to send him a copy of my driver's license for some fucking scamish purpose. And so we're out of here. But a lot of times these fucking idiots, they'll send you enough information that you can find the job on your own. And so I went to the staffing company that he listed as the client for the job. And sure enough, the job's listed on this website for twice the amount of money that this guy was quoting me over the phone that they'd be willing to pay. And so I am going to apply to the job through this nationally known staffing company that is run by people from America. And I'm done with this India. In fact, I am going to log into my LinkedIn account today and put in big bold letters, no Indian recruiters. I'm going to do that today. And I'll even put a little explanation with it. And if I can pin a post to the top of my profile, I'm going to explicitly say no recruiters from India at all. Zero. None. That's the last one. That's the last one. I think it's hilarious. And I had no chance of falling for this scam. And all he really did was point me to a job lead that's a legitimate job lead on a legitimate staffing agency website. And I'm going to apply for it. And I think it's hilarious. And I think I know the company that's looking for this job to be filled because I've had people reach out to me with almost the same job description more than once. And if it's located where I think it's located, it's like a 15 to 20, well, it's probably a half an hour bicycle ride from here to go there. So anyway, I just thought that was kind of ironic because my next video notes that I had taken to do a video about was related to my job search. And I was talking in an earlier video about the job lead tracking tools that I've been using to keep track of the companies that I apply for. And I switched from using this tool called hunter.co, which only lets you track 100 leads at a time unless you're willing to pay them $50 a month. And I'm not willing to pay $50 a month for a job lead tracking tool when the whole entire Adobe software suite costs like $60 a month for a subscription. And that gives you Photoshop and Illustrator and InDesign and Adobe XD and Audition and Adobe Premiere and 20 other apps that I can't even think of the name of right now. You get all of that for $60 a month, but I'm going to pay $50 a month for a Kanban board to track my job leads. No, thank you. If it was like $10 a month, maybe. Maybe I would do it. But anyway, I found another one called Stiplo, and I've been using it for a number of months now, maybe three months. And unfortunately, I had over 60 job leads being tracked in it. And on the first of the year this year, they put up a big notice on their website and sent out a bunch of emails saying they're going out of business and they're shutting down the platform. And I have less than 10 days as of today to get all my data out of there and close the account before I end up just losing the data straight up. And since I'm trying to track everything I do, I logged in today and I basically had to manually copy and paste all of this stuff into a Trello board, the same Trello board where I put the overflow leads from hunter.co when I reach my 100 lead limit. And I had about 65 records to copy and paste. So I lost an hour of my life because of this, and now I have to basically go back to that hunter.co app unless I can find some other alternative that works pretty well. But whatever, I'm slowing down the number of leads that I apply to apply for quality jobs and job leads that have quality to them. I'm not going to apply to just 20. Back when I had to report to social services every week with a job search, I would go to LinkedIn and apply to like 30 jobs at a time with the easy apply option where you just click and it's done. And I would apply to lots of jobs without any consideration as to the quality of what I was applying for. And that's part of the reason why the number of job applications that I have out there are so high. And I'm going to talk about that in a few more minutes. But I had to spend an hour migrating all of these job leads into a Trello board and archive them. And so it made sense, actually, to spend a few minutes and update the totals so that I can share them with you and demonstrate how it's almost impossible to find a job right now, especially when you have a felony criminal record, and it's a recent felony. Even though I was arrested in August of 2022, I wasn't convicted until October of 2023. And October of 2023 is the date that companies are looking at. It's as if you committed the crime on October of 2023 when it comes to a background check. So a lot of people say that, well, after about 7 years, they don't care anymore. Well, what the fuck am I supposed to do for the next 6 years. Like not work, and then 7 years, and then the other factor, I've been unemployed for more than 2 years, other than a part-time job at this bakery for a few months. And the third thing, strike 3, is the last job on my resume that I have listed was a 4-month job. So felony record, unemployed for 2 years or more, last job only lasted 4 months. Boom, you're done. You're finished. Why bother even fucking applying to a job at this point? So the totals that I'm about to share, it represents every single job that I've applied for since being released from federal prison in April of 2004. So the total number of job applications right now, I'm at 493 job applications that I've applied for. Out of 493 applications, I've had 24 interviews with 20 companies. And I'll get into the specific breakdowns here in a minute. I got 4 job offers out of that. All of them were minimum wage labor jobs. I accepted one offer, and I'm working there right now. 2 of the job offers that I accepted were rescinded and taken back after I was hired due to the results of the background check, even though they told me during the interview process, when I was honest about what was in my background check, they said it wouldn't matter and that everybody deserves a second chance. So once again, I've said this more than once, when somebody tells you you deserve a second chance, that means get the fuck out of here, you're not getting a second chance from us. One job offer was kind of rejected by me, and it was after I started a job at the bakery. About a week later, I got another job offer on voicemail. And so I did call the guy back, and I just kept getting his voicemail, and I left him a message, but he never got back to me, and we just couldn't get in touch. And I didn't try that hard because it was also just another minimum wage grunt work job. And now that I'm looking back on that, maybe it would have been a better idea to really follow through with that and try to juggle 2 of the. Because right now, things at the bakery, we're in a slow period. I'm lucky if I'm getting 12 hours a week. And it's not enough for, but I'll talk about that in a little bit more as I go through this video. I've had 124 official rejections where the company said, we are not moving forward with you. And that includes the 2 that where I was hired and they took the job back away from me. And then 354 of them are just stale. They're leads that went absolutely nowhere, and I never found out one way or another if I was rejected or not. So a certain period of time goes by, you don't hear anything back. It goes in the stale leads bucket. Now, for professional jobs in my line of work, I've applied to 437 companies, 437 jobs. I've had 8 interviews at 5 different companies. I don't have any interviews coming up. I received 115 official rejection notices. 322 are stale. Just never heard anything, never went anywhere. And that's common, most of the time. I mean, it's like if I'm talking to a girl on a dating website and I just decide, you know what, I'm just ghosting this chick, and I don't explain it. I just disappear. I don't tell her that, hey, we don't have anything in common. I think you're dumb. We won't get along. Whatever it is, I might just say, you know what? Nah. And just delete the contact and ghost it and just not give any explanation. And that's what companies do. Finding a job is basically the same process as finding a girlfriend. It's really no different. In Houston, when I got to Houston back in September, I applied to 23 jobs. I got 4 interviews at 4 different companies. And like I said, I got 2 job offers at 2 of the companies and accepted one of them. Tried to get back about the other one. We played phone tag, or I called back a few times. The guy never called me back after. It's like, I felt like he got my voicemail and got offended that I didn't pick up the phone and accept his job offer. I don't know. It had a weirdness to it. I got 3 outright rejection notices out of the 23 jobs I applied to, and 20 of them the rest of them went stale. 18 of them went stale because 2 of them offered me a job, and I accepted one of them, and the other one I just couldn't get back to. So I might just actually change that. 8 in my notes. In Jamestown, while I was in Jamestown, I applied to 32 different jobs. I had 12 interviews at 11 companies, 2 job offers that were taken back due to the background check, like I said. And out of those, I got 6 official rejection notices, including the offers that were taken back. And 26 of them just went stale. And the main reason why I didn't apply to more than 32 over the time I was there was because probation kept keeping me in limbo about where I was allowed to live. And so I kind of backed off. But I never stopped completely with applying for jobs, especially when a staffing agency would reach out to me with a lead or something like that. I was constantly applying for jobs, but I could have applied to 300, I could have applied to a couple hundred jobs during the time I was there. Maybe I could have got something, but I'm telling you, manufacturing jobs wouldn't even hire me. I got a solid lead at a furniture manufacturing company that I could have walked to. It would have been a long walk, but I could have walked to this job or taken a bicycle or whatever the case may be, and it would have been $22 an hour full time. I was told right off the bat, they don't care about your criminal background at all. And then crickets. Because they care about your criminal background. When they say that, you may as well just say fuck it. Because that's what they when they tell you it doesn't matter, they're telling you it matters. It's like, it's like you go on a date with an ugly girl and, oh, looks aren't important. What that means is, no, looks are important. So that's all it is. That's all it is. Looking for a job is the same as looking for a girlfriend. And so you're just going to go through some bullshit. But right now, I'm convinced that I could apply to 10,000 jobs and maybe I'll get 10 professional job interviews in it for my line of work. I don't really know what I'm supposed to do about this because I don't even really know what God wants me to do in my current situation. I'm asking out loud for everybody to hear that, God, if you want me to stop trying to find a job in my line of work where I was working before I went to prison, make it extremely obvious and crystal clear that I'm not supposed to keep sending out resumes and trying to get another job like this. Being rejected by 437 companies, it would be a strong indicator of this. I mean, if you got rejected by 437 women, would you give up at that point? Would you give up? And would you just say, I guess I'm just an ugly fucking piece of trash, loser. If a fat girl doesn't even want to bang me, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? So, but I also know that the economy right now is extremely weak and the whole thing is just a numbers game. And so, I really need something more definitive than the rejections and the numbers of rejections from God before I just throw in the towel and say, you know what, I'm not even going to send out a resume anymore. It's worthless. I'm done. And he may very well want me to throw in the towel with this career and this line of work. I was never really happy working at these software companies and doing this kind of work. I enjoy the work itself, but I can't stand how toxic these workplaces became over the time period between the mid-2000s and the early 2020s. Where the toxic liberal dirtbags completely took over the entire tech industry and kicked anybody out who has a different opinion and turned them into these, ultra woke, DEI, liberal, unskilled, retarded asshole companies. And so, if you're not one of these ultra woke, DEI, liberal, unskilled, assholes, then you got to keep your mouth shut if you want to keep a job in that line of work. And that's something that was never easy for me to do. So all I'm really asking for from God at this point is some clarity. I kept saying I felt like I was going the wrong direction, even when the money was awesome and I was climbing that ladder. I never felt satisfied with it. I've spent my entire career feeling like all I do is work my ass off to create garbage that's going to get tossed to the curb on Monday morning. Like, I don't feel like I'm ever doing anything useful for society. I'm working in a garbage factory. And as an artist, it's something, if you're an artist, you'll understand. If you're not an artist, you may or may not understand. But as an artist, you want to create something that's going to last. It's just your nature. It's how I got heavily into photography when I did, because I needed an outlet where I could create something with longevity, where I could be creative, and I didn't have people breathing down my neck telling me what to do and, making things ugly on purpose and all the different things that, company leaders do. And so, like I said, I'm open to God leading me into a different direction. But the problem is I'm also just trying to find a way to survive right now. A steady, livable income would improve my life beyond imagination, regardless of where the income comes from. A stable income. And that's one thing I just can't find right now, no matter how hard I try. I've been desperately seeking a way to pull that off now for 9 months, and I've gotten nowhere with that. Every time I get paid, it's basically a miracle. The freelance work that came from nowhere, the part-time job that right now only adds up to about 12 to 16 hours a week at $10 an hour. They're in a slow period right now, and they've cut everybody's hours. But I can't find a stable solution to help me get on my feet. And I've lived most of my life in chaos, so that's nothing new to me. But right now I'm reaching the point where I just don't have much left to give in that regard. And that leads me to just a quick comment on the previous video. A user, Cynthia Gibson-V8U, says, "You can do it as long as you have to, my dear." And, I don't feel like that was a malicious comment or anything. I don't think she was trying to be mean or anything like that. And I feel like I have been dealing with the hardships longer than I thought I could. But people have limits. People have a limit. You can't just expect somebody to just keep living on the knife's edge of disaster month after month after month without consequences. And I'm just getting to the point where I really don't know how much longer I can last living like this. But I can say for sure that it's not forever. In fact, if I have to live another whole year the way I've been living, I'm going to be a mental basket case by the time it's done. And I won't be able to focus on anything again. I'll end up permanently homeless if that continues. And, if I'm supposed to just live on the knife's edge of disaster without any kind of stability, I am going to end up permanently homeless with a paper bag and a bottle at that point. Everybody needs some kind of stability at some point. Even the people that live the van life need some sort of stability. And I'm not asking for much. I'm asking the good Lord for me to have a way to survive, a level of income that can put a roof over my head and the basics to get by. I'm not asking God to let me live like a pimp on MTV Cribs at this point. A $10 job, a $10 an hour job at a bakery where you never know if you're going to get 10 hours or 40 hours of work the next week until Sunday night before the next week starts. It's not going to do anything but put me back out in the street, ultimately. If that's what I have to rely on in order to survive, I'm not going to survive. Government assistance was better, and at least the government assistance was more stable. I was getting more money on food stamps than I could get from this job if it continues down the 12-hour-a-week path. But, you know, I also believe that if you don't like your situation, then get up off your ass and change it. So I'm not sitting here whining and complaining that somebody else has to go and fix this for me. I'm just saying that I don't think you can call someone a lazy piece of shit after they applied to 492 jobs only to be rejected by 490 of them, and then, you know, not even be able to make enough money at the one who actually hired you to get out of your friend's house that allowed you to stay there. It's not like I'm not putting in an effort. There are other things going on. There are other sources of income. There are, you know, I'm on the knife's edge of disaster every day, and it's very unstable. And things just feel stuck right now. That is my biggest problem, is just all of a sudden I feel stuck in the mud. And I just need to keep pushing through it. But at this point, I need God to come in and intervene and help me out, because, do you have any idea how hard it is to have seen your 15-year-old son one fucking time since August of 2022, and now it's January 2025, and I've literally seen my kid for a period of 12 hours during all of that time? And I mean, that is just one item on the tip of the iceberg that I'm dealing with right now. I mean, just imagine that. Imagine that. Somebody else, A Beamer 2861, one of the super fans, a regular, he chimed in with, "You rock this channel, Adam, and look at the number of subscribers getting up. And you do not even try to grow it. But by being who you are, a regular guy like us with problems and hardships, more hardships than many of us here, but with a sincere heart to trust in the Lord Jesus and follow him, your victories are coming, and you will make them public so the depressed would find the real anchor in life, God. There are only 2 YouTube channels that I look forward to watching, and yours is one of them. Thank you for the encouragement." And that's awesome. Thanks for the comment and for the support and coming to watch the videos and all the comments that you leave and everything else. But the reality is, I have not gained one single subscriber since I moved to Texas. In fact, I've lost 27 subscribers, I just checked today, since the day I arrived here. On September 12th of last year, when I came to Texas, I had 1,252 subscribers, and now I have, as of sometime today, 1,224. I literally have not gained one subscriber in a period of 4 months, not even one. But in the first 60 days of me putting videos on YouTube, I had over 1,000 new subscribers. And that's not completely my own fault. The videos on this channel were getting 3,000 views per day per video. And now they get 150 views all of a sudden. YouTube put the kibosh on this channel. Flat out. They drastically shadow banned me the day I left Jamestown. They killed my channel. However, on the flip side, even though YouTube refuses to show my videos to anybody new, because everything about your channel growth on YouTube hinges completely, and I mean completely, on the number of impressions that they show people. But aside from that, the other engagement statistics are way up. So the average view time went from less than a minute when I was getting 3,000 views on a video to now the average view time is 30 to 40 minutes per view, per visit. The number of comments has stayed about the same. And all the stats show me is that the core audience, you guys, the ones who are watching right now, you're the same as it ever was. But the channel can't grow if YouTube decides it won't grow. They control it. Period. That's how YouTube controls who gets popular and who doesn't, by controlling the number of new people they expose to your content. And so the one thing is that with 3,000 views per video, even if they're less than a minute long, I could make 100 to 150 bucks a month in ad revenue from that. If the average view, even if the average view time is less than a minute, because they're seeing the ad before the video starts. Now I can make about $100 per year from the ad revenue because of the drop in traffic. And I'm not making these videos for business purposes, but these are the realities of what happens when you get on YouTube and you start saying things that YouTube doesn't want people to hear, period. The impressions, the number of times they show your video to other people, are by far the main way that people discover your content. So if YouTube wants to ban your channel without going to the level of outright kicking you off the platform, all they need to do is turn off your impressions and make it so that your content never reaches anybody new, and therefore nobody ever finds it. That's all they have to do. Tick, flip a switch, turn off the impressions, your channel dies in the wind. And so all of you people, all of you who are watching this channel right now, tell me in the comments how you found the channel in the first place. I'm assuming that for 95% of you, my thumbnail and the video title showed up in your feed, you saw it, you're like, I think I'm gonna click on this, and you gave it a watch. I can assume that 95% of you found my channel because of that. Maybe 5% found it through some other means, word of mouth, maybe they saw it on another thing, or whatever the case may be. So now think about what happens when YouTube goes from throwing up. I was getting 30,000 to 50,000 impressions on every new video that I posted, and now I'm getting 50 to 100 impressions every time I post a new video. It went from 30 to 50,000 impressions down to about 50 to 100 impressions. Think about it. And because the number of people who actually click on it when they see it is very low to begin with, it's probably 1% or less. That's basically shutting off your channel and dropping your views to zero, even though it's not technically zero. And so I'm not even, I'm not going to spend the whole video bashing YouTube, but there are definitely reasons that they will shadow ban and limit your growth. And this happens all the time on tons of people's channels. There's nothing new here, and it's been happening long before I came to the game. If YouTube doesn't want you to be seen, you will not be seen. If YouTube wants you to be successful, you'll be successful almost regardless of what you do. The barriers to entry for anyone who wants to come in and compete with YouTube, it's impossible to overcome at this point. The financial investment, the time investment, the infrastructure, all of that stuff. I've talked about this more than once. There was a lot of government intervention that propped up Google, the parent company, for a long time before they ever had to make money. And that created a monopoly that nobody can break because of the fact that the barrier to entry is just too expensive. Period. Nobody can build a competitor to YouTube and get through the growth period to where they're actually making a profit. We've got TikTok created enough disruption in the market that everybody started copying them. Instagram became Instatalk. Abandoning photography for dumbass selfie videos that women post making duck faces of themselves, and Facebook became Face Talk, or they call it Reels on Facebook, and YouTube has slowly started to turn into YouTalk, or Shorts, where you're watching these dumbass 30-second videos, and there was enough disruption there from them to make other platforms copy what they were doing, but it didn't really dig deep into YouTube's market share. And TikTok was basically built by the government of China. If the government of China, with all of their vast resources, the Communist People's Republic of China cannot create a competitor to YouTube that with all the resources and the trillions of dollars that they could just throw into it without ever having to make a dime, then YouTube's the internet video monopoly at this point. Rumble, that shit's a lost cause. I don't even upload videos there anymore. I don't got time for it. There's an absolute zero chance of anybody on Rumble ever gaining traction on that platform unless you are a popular right-wing grifter who's already popular. And Rumble's executive team puts all of your content right on the Rumble homepage every time a user logs in. That's the only way you can possibly grow on Rumble. And that is completely controlled and curated by the managers and the executive team of Rumble. There's zero user-generated virality on that platform at all. All the traffic on Rumble is directed by the people who run Rumble. It's curated. It's not spontaneous or user-driven at all. Rumble, you're popular on Rumble because the people that run the company want you to be, and that's it. And Rumble is the closest anybody can come to competing with YouTube, and they can't even get 1% of the traffic that YouTube generates. I bet they can't even get half of 1%. However, in spite of the fact that I can't do anything about what a monopoly does to limit my growth or my reach and therefore my success with all of this stuff, there are reasons things have slowed down that I can definitely blame myself for. I'm going to take responsibility where I have to take responsibility for my own things. And so, number one, I found a place to live and started picking myself up. The train wreck has started to clean up. I've got a couple of the train cars off the track. I've got some of the derailed cars back on the track. And so all the rubberneckers and the gawkers who want to slow down and look at the train wreck, they've gone away. They're no longer interested because they came to see a train wreck. And if there's no more train wreck to look at, then they don't got any reason to be here. So that's reason number one. Reason number two, I can back this up with data. I have the charts to back this up. I say things that YouTube doesn't want you to hear. A lot. I'm against all of these bullshit woke liberal views, and unfortunately YouTube is a monopoly run by a bunch of bullshit woke liberal scumbags. So therefore we're incompatible with each other, and I will not self-censor myself just to get a bump and cooperate and appease the woke liberal algorithm. And therefore I need to at least accept responsibility for my unwillingness to cave in to their demands. Number three, my videos have become long and people have short attention spans. If I could keep my video length at 10 to 20 minutes, I could probably get a spike in traffic. But right now, it just makes more sense to do it from the heart and do whatever I feel is right. And so lately, I have enough thoughts to put down some hour-long videos and then some. And so there you go. I'm just doing whatever I feel like doing at this point. Like I said, I'm not doing this for the money, so I don't care. Number four, I could do better at editing. I could shave before shooting a video, I could make myself a little more presentable, get my hair did and do a bit more professionalism in the video editing, and all of that kind of stuff can help. The thumbnail format needs to be something, you got to look at your thumbnails for your videos from the perspective of, if I'm just a random YouTuber who's never heard of this guy, would I click on this and watch it because of the thumbnail video or the thumbnail in my feed? How many times do you click on a thumbnail because the title was interesting, or because the graphic in the thumbnail was interesting, or a combination of both? So that's an important one. And so, I'm not doing the best I can do there. And so I accept the responsibility that I got to keep playing around with the thumbnail and trying to figure out, what will get people to click on it. But the only thing that's going to do is improve my click-through ratio. But if YouTube if YouTube decides we're only going to show your thumbnails to 50 people whenever you post a new video instead of the 30 to 50,000 we used to do, then there's only so much I can do there. Changing my thumbnail to the most clickable thumbnail isn't going to do much. And for a while, I've stopped pushing up a video every single day. And I went a month at one point without pushing up anything. And, not right now, I'm just adding a video whenever I have a chance to do it. And so there are more things I can probably think of, but all of those things are things that are under my control that are contributing to the death of my channel. But like I said, I never started doing this with the intention of making money from it. But when the traffic increased rapidly after the first 3 videos, I got encouraged. That's kind of what motivated me to keep doing it every day while I was homeless. And now that I sit here watching everything completely die, I'm not going to lie, it's a little discouraging. But going back to what I just said, I'm not doing it to make money from it. That was never my intention from day one, and it's still not. That's why I keep doing it. I'm just working it into how I can fit it into my lifestyle right now and also get other things done. But going back to how the company has more control over it than me. There's a homeless guy, Friar Tuck. The Epic of Friar Tuck is the name of his channel. I've talked about him more than once. In fact, it was one of you in the comments. I don't know who you were. Somebody pointed me towards his channel, said that I would enjoy it, and I did. And so I started watching his videos. His live streams constantly pop up in my feed. It just seems to be I'm sitting in front of my computer and I go to YouTube and there's a thing right there. And I don't hit the bell on any channels I subscribe to because I just don't want to I get bombarded with notifications all the time and emails and all kinds of stuff. I just don't want to keep getting bombarded with things all the time. But anyway, Friar Tuck, recently he got himself a piece of land with this girl that he's hanging out with. I think he's renting the land, but they're trying to build like a home and get like a trailer to live in and maybe build a cabin. And they're trying to he's trying to pick himself up from being perpetually homeless. And he's trying to show people that he's picking himself up and trying to break this whole cycle of being perpetually homeless. And he's experiencing the same thing that I talk about when I talk about how nobody's interested anymore when you clean up the train wreck, because a lot of people show up to a channel like this, a homeless guy's YouTube channel, because they want to see a train wreck. They want to see the train wreck. And when you decide to clean up the train wreck and start picking yourself up to break that cycle of being homeless, nobody gives a fuck anymore. They don't care. They don't want to see it anymore. And so he was talking about in his last live stream, without any prompting from me, he just started talking about how now that he's picking himself up, he got a piece of land, he's looking to put a trailer and he's trying to put something together. His viewership started to drop off a cliff. He's not getting any impressions anymore. The number of new subscribers stopped cold. He's losing subscribers. People were perfectly willing to donate money to this guy and just throw money at him when he was homeless. But now that he's trying to sell something or work for the money, nobody wants to give the guy a time of day. I think, from what I understand, he was able to fund this land grab or whatever, however he got it, through income that he generated while he's being homeless on YouTube. And his viewership blew up a little bit. But now that he's actually trying to break the cycle of being homeless, nobody gives a shit about him anymore. Because they only came to see the train wreck. So this whole people are no longer interested because he's no longer a train wreck. The comment that I made earlier applies to him. It's just more proof that what I'm saying is not bullshit, but it's real. I don't remember all the details of what I said, but during his live stream, I was chatting with him, and he was answering me live when he would read my comments, and he does that a lot, and other people were making comments that he responded to, but that was the subject I was sticking to with my content, or with my comments to him. And he said that he had a much easier time getting handouts and things like that from strangers who just wanted to throw money at him and help a homeless guy But now nobody's interested now that he's actually improving his life. And I equated it to him that when I was homeless, people would donate money to my digital chicken bucket. And at times, that saved my ass. And it allowed me to keep moving forward on some things that I otherwise didn't know how I would pay for. But nobody wants to buy my photography or my art. They all say, oh my God, your photos are so beautiful, but I just want to hand you money to be homeless. I don't want to buy your pictures. And so people would rather just toss me money for nothing because I was homeless, but they did not want to support me by buying something that I'm selling and trying to support myself with a hustle. They're fine just giving you money. Like you're a beggar on the street corner and throwing money in a chicken bucket. But if you're trying to hustle and you have something to sell, well, forget about it. No, we don't want to support that. And now the numbers are all small, but I can go back to my comments in earlier YouTube videos where viewers were leaving comments that they were pissed off that I refused to put up a donation page for several weeks. And I just kept telling people, go to my store and buy some photographs. And they just got mad at me for that. And so finally I was like, fuck it. I'm going to put up a digital chicken bucket. And when I did, people started throwing money at me. But none of these people would spend a few bucks on a photographic print. What? Why? When a guy's actually trying, it's the same thing, will work for food that you see the homeless guy holding up. No, you're more likely to get donations as a homeless guy if you put up a cardboard sign that says, I need beer money in front of a bucket. You're going to make tons of money. But if you actually say, I will work for food, nobody wants to give you the time of fucking day. Like, it's the truth. It's the fucking truth. I've heard people say that they will give the homeless guy who just says, I need beer money because, well, at least he's being honest. But they don't want to give the guy who says he wants to work a chance. Like, that is some seriously fucked up shit if you really think about it and you really let that sink in for a minute. And I can tell you I'm feeling it from my own perspective a little bit. And I think it's, in some of these cases, I think it's just people had the desire that if they're going to donate to me when I'm homeless, they want all that money to get in my pocket without me having to pay vendors and lose a cut of the money that they're paying me. But for example, if a person donated $200 to the digital chicken bucket, which happened more than once, I would have made more money if 10 people bought a photographic print from my store for $30. I would have had more money in my pocket if 10 people would go to the store at shop.litgood.com and buy a photographic print for $30. I would have more money in my pocket from 10 people doing that than one person throwing 200 bones in the chicken bucket. And I would feel better about it. It does not take me a long time to fulfill a digital order. It's all digital. When I get an order from my photo store, it's like ticka on upload a file, fill in some forms, put in the person's address, boom, it's out the door. And the money gets dropped into my bank account before they take the money out for the shipping. It all just works out. And if I could just get a flow going there, now granted, I only got about 20 photos for sale on my store, so I'm not blaming you guys or the people who watch the videos. I'm just taking baby steps and but there was a definite resistance from people who were just like, no, we don't want to buy stuff from you. We just want to hand you money. And I don't understand that at all. Like, you don't want to support the guy who wants to hustle and actually work for his money, but you could just throw money at a guy for no reason. I don't get that. I don't understand it. But nobody would do it. Like I said, they just wanted to toss money at me. And then after I get to Houston, that completely stopped. And I'm not complaining about that. There are some people right now going through some real shit, living in tents in North Carolina during the winter because the government pretty much abandoned them because, we need to send, because of all these wildfires in California, for example, we need to help people out by sending another $500 million to Ukraine. And by saying what I just said, it's actually in the YouTube service agreement that I have to click yes on, that you're not allowed to say negative things about Ukraine. YouTube flat out tells you in the terms of service with YouTube AdSense and all that if you say negative things about Ukraine, you can lose your monetization on your channel for speaking against Ukraine. That is a bona fide, written down reason. I could take a screenshot and show you guys, but you can look this up for yourself. It's not rocket science, but it is in the YouTube service agreement that if you speak out against Ukraine in any way, negatively, they can demonetize your platform. So if you say, I don't want my tax money being sent to Ukraine when people here in the United States could use it more than they can, YouTube can just shut you off. So why do you think my channel went from getting 3,000 views on a video to 150, 30 to 50,000 impressions for a new video, and now it's 50 to 100 impressions for a new video? Well, I'm getting probably 50 impressions for this video. And I have the data to prove that. Whenever I would speak out against the COVID stuff, whenever I'd speak out against or do a pro-Donald Trump video, the number of impressions for the next 3 videos would drop by 60, 70%. All the things on the graph literally follows what I talk about. I would say something YouTube didn't like, all of a sudden, boom, the number of impressions drops off a cliff, and it slowly climbs back up, and then I say something else I'm not supposed to, and boom, it drops off another cliff. And then finally YouTube just said, all right, we're done with this guy. Kick him out. We're not going to ban his channel, but, just cut him off. Don't let him have a voice anymore. So, but anyway, back to the thing with the donations. On the flip side, I'm watching YouTube videos where multimillionaires are promoting their donation page for their YouTube channel, and they're just asking for donations. Just give me money for nothing in return other than you like my channel and you want to support me. And these people, these multimillionaires, are making more money from donations to their YouTube channel. Their digital chicken buckets bringing in more money for these multimillionaires than I'll ever make in a year of my life doing career work. And so, the whole thing just has me in a state of confusion. It just blows my mind. Put it this way, I gave up trying to tell my kids some bullshit like work hard and be honest and all that kind of bullshit, because these days, you're way more successful by just fucking around and doing nothing. You make more money playing video games these days and streaming it to YouTube than you're going to make working at some fucking job, that's for sure. And, my parents told me back in the day that playing video games is a waste of time and you're never going to get anywhere with your life, and et cetera, et cetera. And now there's people making millions of dollars playing video games on fucking YouTube. So, and I'm not saying I don't want to make my living playing video games all day. I loved video. I had a huge video game collection and I didn't want to do that. But all this stuff just tells me that maybe God just has a different plan for me than going back to my old career and jumping through all these ridiculous hoops with all these Indian scam artists and every other ridiculous crock of shit that you've got to deal with now that it's an employer's market instead of an employee's market. And maybe God just has a different plan for me and he wants me to do something different. But I don't think YouTube's going to be it, because unless I start a brand new channel, change my name, maybe grow a mustache and disguise myself so that they think that it's a whole new guy, and then I self-censor myself and I don't talk about the things I'm not supposed to talk about, and I follow all of the YouTube rules, maybe I could be successful on here, but I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen. So, but I just, if God doesn't step in soon, I'm going to end up homeless again, and that's just where it is. So I'm hoping that God has a plan, and I'm just openly saying I'm open to whatever it is. I just need some direction. I need a sign as to, like, what do you actually want me to do? Do you want me to just buckle down on this freelance and go hard? Forget the bait, you know, just I don't even know. Like, I'm just having some, I don't even know what it is. I just feel stuck right now. And it's that kind of stuck that, like I said in the previous video, if you're not going the direction that God wants you to go, you'll just keep banging your head against the wall over and over and over, trying to break through the wall, and all you end up with at the end of the day is a headache. And I'm having a little bit of that over the last 2 months, it feels like. It feels like things got stuck, and now I'm just banging my head against the wall over and over and over, and all I'm getting is a headache from it, and I'm not getting through the wall. And so I'm asking out loud for everybody to hear, like, God, I'm asking you to just make it so crystal clear and so obvious where you want me to put my time and effort so that I go the right way that you want me to go, not digging myself into the sand by doing the wrong thing. And so I'm just going to leave it at that. If he gives me an answer, you'll be the first ones to hear it. But with that, I'm coming up to about another hour, and I'm just going to hit stop and upload the video, and there might be another opportunity today to do another video, and I can probably pull another topic out of my bucket of topics to talk about, because I never really have a shortage of stories to share. So with that, I'm just going to say, if you do support what I'm doing, check out the links below in the description. That's the only plug I'm going to do for a while. And with that, I'm just going to say peace out.